Hello, hello, hello. We're trying this again. I had a quick Google how I can add Katie. So, Katie, if you're listening, could you please comment on the video? Because then apparently I can click on your name, can tap your name, and add you. I have to say, sometimes Facebook is driving me a little bit bananas because they seem to be changing their. Ah, there we go. Live view. Is that? Oh. There we go. It's happening. Yeah, I was going to say sometimes Facebook changes their algorithms and their rules from one day to the next, and you just don't know what's happening. Because last week with Kevin, it was quite
Hey.
easy. There she is.
Hey, there we go.
Yay! You
You're
are now
right.
live in the Happy Women Network.
Hey. I'm not too bad. I just straightened my hair, especially for this evening. So,
Okay. It's Sunday night. It's Sunday night.
I know.
We're all
Normally I'm
looking.
in my pajamas.
Yeah, yeah. I'm only dressed because we went to see the in-laws today. So,
Oh, nice.
I'll just quickly tell everyone how we met because some of you might know that I have a history as a personal trainer, and Katie was actually one of my teachers when I studied or when I did the qualification. And because she lives quite locally, we stayed in touch, and because she's awesome, and I asked her if she would be kind enough to answer your questions, which she said she would do. So thank you very much for
I
that.
did indeed. No problem. No problem at all.
Do you wanna so
I'm a
how
little bit
long
nervous.
have you been PTing? Or tell us about
I
yourself.
have. So I've been PTing coming up. I was 18 when I started working in the industry, and I'm 35 next month. So quite a long time. I started working a big health club chain. So I used to work for Virgin Active, where I worked there for 7 years. And over that time, I started as a gym instructor and then progressed to a full-time personal trainer. And then in 2009, I gave all that up and went out on my own. So I personal trained clients in their homes. And then I started working for the company that you do, which was Future Fit Training. I'm one of their tutors for the gym team. So I teach gym, circuits, and torso training. I know, def torso. I was going to say core, but it's not called core, it's torso. I teach that as well. And then that's what I do now. And then my actual main job now is I know you said it on your post earlier in the week, but I'm actually a full-time mum. So I've got two little boys. My eldest, Harry, has just turned 6, and James will be 3 next month. So that's what I do. I completely work around my children. So I'm very, very lucky to do what I do. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's me.
And PTing is a great job to do that. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Cool.
Perfect.
So
Yeah.
I said it in my first video, which I then had to stop because I couldn't actually add you. Some people, or quite a few people, started January saying this is going to be completely different. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to run a marathon. I'm going to do this, that, and they all have those really good intentions. And then they find themselves thinking, where do I start? So, what would you say? What's a good way to start?
So the thing is, what you have to understand is if you want to make a change, which is fantastic. So anybody out there who wants to make a change, the hardest thing is admitting that and trying to take some steps towards it. What you want to do is you've got to think long term. So yes, everybody wants to kind of lose weight, as you said, run a marathon. This is the year that I'll get fit, and that's great. But if you're thinking like 12 months down the line, it's too long term. So you need to start thinking of what you can do, little tiny steps that can help you in that direction. So what a lot of people tend to do this time of year is that they go a bit OTT. So they'll go right from the 1st of Jan, or in our house, it's the 2nd of Jan because we have far too much chocolate to eat on the 1st. 2nd of Jan, I'm going to be on a healthy diet. I'm going to eat this. I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week. I'm going to drink lots of water. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. It's too much. So if you can think to yourself, I'm going to pick 1 or 2 things this week that I know that I can do, that I'm in control of. After that, add that. So start with those 1 or 2 things, create a habit, and then add to it. So for me, like, I'm not perfect, I'm not going to lie, I love my food, and over Christmas I love my chocolate. Shortbread is my downfall. We've still got some here at the moment, but so my things this week to do is to drink enough water. So I'm trying to drink at least 2 liters a day at the moment, because I know I can do that. I've got a water bottle that's a liter, fill it up, and then if I can do that twice a day, perfect. And the other thing is to get to the gym at least twice, which I've already done this week. So as long as you can pick something that is easily controllable and that you can do that first. So just start with the little things. Look at what you can do and you've got full control of, okay? Because otherwise it's too much of a hill to climb. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes, and it's I find it always very good to hear that even PTs are only human. You know,
Exactly.
they like their food and they have days when they don't feel like it. And yeah, so it's really good to hear that from you.
We are people.
Thank you for your yeah.
I do try.
And I guess then there's the eternal conflict in a way between cardio and strength training. Because I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but I shared your video from your page into the group this morning because I loved it. Because you only just started running. So what would you say if someone says, do I do cardio or do I do strength training or resistance training, which is for everyone at home? So everything that, you know, that you can do at home, like all your sit-ups and the lifting weights and things like that. Or do you do cardio? What would you say to someone that is torn between those two?
Realistically, if it was in real life, you've got to choose something. So anything is better than nothing. So we're told, you know, unfortunately, our population is getting more and more obese. We need to move more as a society. That's what the issue is. Not a lot of people are moving. So we need to get moving. So if you prefer to do cardio, go for it. If that's what you enjoy doing. If you prefer to lift weights, which is my thing, do that if you prefer to do that. The thing is, you've got to think about is your health as well. So cardio will definitely help your overall health. But then strength training is really important as well, particularly for us women. As we get on and as we get on in life, you know, we have a higher risk of things like osteoporosis, and also our strength decreases as well. So it's things like, people always think it's about lifting weights, but it's actually, when I'm older, I want to make sure that I can safely lift myself out the bath, making sure that I'm strong enough to do things like that. But cardio is good. There has been numerous studies out that prove. Sorry, I'm really shaking. I don't know why I did have a tripod for my phone, but my kids are playing Star Wars with it. And I don't know where it is. I've got a tricep as well. So I'm holding my phone. So cardio is good. Strength training is important as well. I personally would prefer, if I had a client that only had time to do one, I would do strength training with them rather than cardio, because that gives you so much more sort of bang for your buck, calorie burning, etc., as well as increasing kind of connective tissue strength in the body as well. But cardio is okay. What a lot of people tend to do, particularly this time of year, is they'll go to the gym and they'll just spend an hour on a treadmill or an hour on a stepper, an hour on a bike. That's not enough. You need to start adding some weights into that as well, because I think I might have said this when I taught you, but there was a study done a few years ago, the difference between strength training and also cardio training, where they looked at the effect of someone running for an hour and the effect of someone strength training for an hour. And actually, when you lift weights, your recovery period can take up to 24 hours afterwards. So you'll still be burning calories to get back into your pre-workout state. Whereas with a cardio, it can only take a few hours to get back into that state. So if you want to burn calories and your mission is to lose weight, lift weights. And if you're female and you're watching this, which I know it will be because it's for a women's networking group, I promise you will not get big and bulky. That's what you always hear this time of year. I lift weights, but I don't want to get big or bulky. We do not have enough testosterone in our body to get big and bulky. We will lean. God, I'm really shaking. Sorry. We can lean up, but we will not get bulky. Where people feel it's quite, if that's your thing, we don't have enough testosterone in your body. And when you sometimes see pictures of women that are quite big and bulky, a lot of the time they may be taking things to increase their natural testosterone level in their body. I'm not saying not everybody, but a lot of people I'll say that about.
No, and it's really, really good that you say that. I have a friend who's a female friend who's a very passionate weightlifter, and she wants to do those those actual competitions now where and she said it's so hard for her to get any definition, so to get any visible muscle. So that is always a
massive
concern
difference. It takes ages. It can take up to there's a few people that I kind of follow on social media, when they compete, but they've changed weight classes, so they've gone from over a figure competitive to a bikini competitive and vice versa. And it can take someone, particularly women, like 2-3 years to get increase in their muscle mass. So it takes a while. So you're not going to, suddenly picking up some dumbbells in January, you're not going to be built like the Hulk by March. So I really wouldn't worry about it.
Very good. And you touched on it briefly, on the aspect in terms of losing weight. So if someone, because that is probably the main reason why people decide that in January it's time to start exercising. If someone said, I want to lose weight, what do you recommend? So where do they start? Is there anything like that?
I mean, the easiest thing is to say is that you need to exercise and eat less. So pick one of those two to start off with. Whatever you can control and you can stay in control of, do that first. So if you feel that your diet is a bit OTT or a bit out of whack at this time of year, maybe concentrate on trying to correct that first, and then adding in the exercise in a few weeks' time. Pick either or, really. Calories is definitely the thing that you have to concentrate on. It's where people think it's like, there's so much stuff about quality of the calories, it's this and it's that, it's carbs, it's protein. It's not, it's calories. Scientifically, you have to burn more calories than you consume. So if you can do that through your nutrition, great. If you can do that by burning a few calories extra a week in the gym or walking the dog or gardening, that's great too. So whatever you can do. So it's all about calories, basically. Just take control of them and see how you get on from there. That's okay.
And if, because not, or yeah, that's probably a good question that I just came up, because a lot of women have this thing, they don't want to go into a gym because they have this gym anxiety thing and they feel intimidated, and yeah, they just don't feel like they belong, and then they might end up or might decide maybe I should go for a PT or a personal trainer. And what would you say should they look out for when hiring a PT?
I don't really know. I should really ask my clients that. But I think what's most important is you've got to make sure you can get on with them, because it is a relationship. It's, particularly when you start finding out what their goals are, or if they've got, any medical issues and that you have to work with, they obviously have to trust you. Because I always say this as well, especially when I teach, that, it is a dangerous job. People think that it's an easy job, but it is dangerous. If we get it wrong, we can really hurt someone. So we have to make sure that our clients trust us. I think from my point of view is, if I was hiring a trainer, I'd have to definitely get on with them. And I wouldn't want that trainer to have a kind of a bit of empathy towards what I go through in my life, really. So for me now, my client base is all women, and they're all mums, because I've been through that weight gain. I've had the 3 stone, 4 stone put on weight twice. And then, and I've done that. And I think that with my clients, I think that resonates really well with them as well, because they've seen me do it, and I can help them do it as well. So yeah, I think the most important thing is feel that you can get on with them, feel that you can trust them, and know that they will do what they say they're going to do. And I think that's pretty much it, really. I think most people, when they get older, we kind of have that intuition that people that you'll get on with and we won't get on with. So the best thing to do, and I would definitely recommend, sitting down and chatting with them before you sign up to anything or taking, put your money over. Sit down, have a coffee with them, let them find out what your goals are, find out more about them, ask them some questions if you want to. Because I say this as well when I teach, and I know I've said this to you because I say it on every course that I teach, but when we do what we do as PTs, it doesn't matter about our qualifications. As long as we're qualified because we've got our insurance, that's fine. It's all about how you can communicate with people, and it's all about understanding that person, where they are in their life, and making sure that we can do what we can do to help them in their life to make changes. That's what I would say.
Cool. Yeah,
right.
that's very good, and I think especially as a woman, we tend to get a really good idea of whether we like someone or not. So having a coffee and sit down and just check them out, is definitely a good idea. And you mentioned any injuries or issues that someone might have, because Tamsin, lovely Tamsin, asked a question about, she's got a tennis elbow, and she always used to be very active, but now she's really struggling to lift up even the lightest things. So what could she do to maybe improve that, or at least not make it any worse?
Right. So as a PT, our job is not to diagnose any issues either. So, if people come to us and they say they've got this injury, that's not our job. We can't diagnose it because we're not doctors. But if someone does come to work with me with tennis elbow, it's going to sound really boring, but you must rest it, which I'm sure she's been told that. Tamsin, you've probably been told that about 400 million times. you must rest it because it's a tendon issue. So tendons haven't got a good blood flow, so they don't heal very quickly. So anyone that's watching who has pulled a tendon it does take a while to heal. So you must rest it. You can also do things like if it's quite inflamed and it's hurting, you can obviously do cold presses on it to try and take some of the swelling out. What I would do if it was my client and it was persistent, I would look at the shoulder joint, because normally if there's an issue in the body at a joint, let's say it's a knee problem or an ankle problem, it's normally the joint above it or below it. It's never just normally that joint. Normally what's happened is there's some issue in the chain of the body, and unfortunately it's just resonated in that area. So I would probably look at her shoulders and see how her shoulders are moving. I would maybe look at improving the mobility in the shoulder joint, which tends to be, the shoulder joint is quite a strange joint because it's quite a shallow ball and socket joint. It's classed as a ball and socket, but it's not really. It's quite a shallow joint, so it's the biggest moving joint in the body as well. So I would maybe look at her shoulder, see if there's anywhere that she might be particularly tight in the shoulder joint as well. And then from there, just do some assessments. What I would say is if she's in the gym, and I'm obviously saying from a gym point of view, is doing things with a neutral grip. So this kind of way round, rather than holding anything this way, holding it that way would help, because then you're not putting any extra stress or rotation for the elbow joint. Other than that, though, without obviously assessing her, I can't really give her too much tips. But as I said, rest, ice it if needed. I'm sure she's been to her doctors. They probably recommended some, painkillers and stuff. I don't know if some of my son's in the background talking. I don't know if you can hear him. I think he's calling me. No, it's fine. Paul's in there. We're all good. He's fine.
I can't hear.
Yeah, that's all right. I could just hear like "Mammy" in the background. So with tennis elbow, as I said, it's because it's tightness through the tendon. So definitely rest it, ice it. And if you are training in the gym, just try and work around it. So what I mean is try things with a neutral grip, or even doing things like with Dynabands, anything that takes the pressure away from the joint, and don't go too heavy. So go higher reps, so maybe 10, 12 reps plus, and a much lighter weight at the moment. Because you want to increase, you want to make sure you move it. You don't want to isolate it completely and sort of stop it moving, but you want to make sure that you can't do whatever you can do to try and control the pain, if that makes sense. So, but obviously, Tamsin, if you're there, if you want any tips, just let me know. Like, I'm sure you can find me on there. Send me a message or something, and I'll send you some tips. If that's all right. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So, thank you. And because you said with the tendon issues, would that be the same with the Achilles tendon, which seems to be quite a common issue as well?
So Achilles, sorry, I can't.
Yeah.
Achilles tendon. Yeah. So sorry, my phone just went a bit funny. So the Achilles tendon is, again, the thing about the Achilles tendon is it's a massive shock absorber. So if you think about, so when you walk, we have things called ground reaction forces. So when you walk, you have roughly 10 times your body weight coming back through the floor to hold you upright. And when you run, it can go up to 100 times your body weight. So if you think about how much force your Achilles tendon absorbs throughout a day, it's a lot. So what you can do, because I thought this would come up, if you have an Achilles problem or a problem in your feet in general, if you get a tennis ball or a massage ball, so that's mine, it's a rock tape, it's from rock tape, but you can get like a tennis ball or a golf ball. If you roll the soles of your feet and you start right behind the ball of your foot, all the way up in the kind of the arch of the foot, inside and out, that will really help, because it will ease off all the fascia in the back of the leg. So starting on your Achilles tendon up through your calves, hamstrings, and all through your back as well, all the way up to the top of your head. So it's a really good way of alleviating any stress through the feet or the Achilles. But with the Achilles, the other thing is you don't know that? There you go. You can use that. Golf balls. Yeah, it's really good. So it's called your fascia chain. You can use a golf ball as well, but that's really painful. So you want to have something with a bit of give. I mean, this is quite hard, what I use, but I've got a condition in my feet anyway, so I have to be quite careful. But so that's what I would do. Roll your feet if you've got problems in your Achilles.
Yeah. So a tennis ball would be.
Yeah, tennis ball is quite good. Yeah, roll your feet. Also with the Achilles as well is just rest it, and if you need to, you might need to put a little bit of support on it. What a lot of people tend to do with the ankle joint is they strap it up too much. It's a massive joint, and if you strap the ankle up, your feet won't be able to move properly either. So you just need to make sure that you, if you need to strap it, don't strap it too tight so your feet can't move. If that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I'm very fascinated. I could go on and on forever.
Yeah. I'm a bit of a geek. I'm a geek when I get going.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's why you're here, because you know all that stuff, and we don't. So you have to enlighten us.
I try to.
Um, and what about, as we're with the issues? What about with someone that has sensitive knee, so they can't really run because the impact is a bit too strong? What would you recommend they could do for, well, I guess cardio and resistance training?
Okay, so if someone's got bad knees, so random fact of the day, women, we are 2 to 8 times more likely to get knee injuries than men. So it's just a natural, because our pelvis is wider. So our job in life is to bear children. If you want to have kids, if you don't, fair play, it's up to you. But our pelvis is wider. So what happens is that our femurs don't come straight down like men's. Our actual femurs come inwards. So it creates like a knock-kneed effect. So what tends to happen with that is that we are much more likely to have, as I said, knee issues, particularly ACL problems. So if someone has a knee issue, what I would do straight away as a client is, if I had a client, I'll really look at their glutes to make sure their glutes were working correctly, so their bum basically. So what you can do
Yeah.
is, if you have a knee issue in the gym,
Bum muscle.
yeah, it's always the bum. If it's a knee issue, it's normally a bum, particularly for women. Our glutes just tend to be weak. So your glutes are like your stabilizers. So once they fire up, if you jump or run or anything like that, they will make sure that when you land, you've absorbed that force properly. And if they don't work, you're going to be out of alignment, and it's going to cause some issues. So what I tend to do with clients, if they've got problems with their knees, is I would work on glute activation exercises. So a simple one to do is get a dyno band, like a little bit of elastic, run it around the top of your knees, and then you could either do like little squats pushing out against the band, or you could do an exercise called an X-band walk. I'll send you some links to these if you want, Claudia, so you can put them up on the page. But things like an X-band walk or anything like that. A simple bridge as well. You know, when you lay on the floor, and you might if you lay on the floor, put your feet down, and you push up through your heels of your feet so your hips come up. Things like that. Anything to work the glutes would be great. Cardio-wise, things like the cross trainer, anything that's kind of non-impact. So the cross trainer or the elliptical is a great one. And it's things like, if you're going to use the bike, just make sure that the seat is set at the right height so you're not knocking out your knees. And just making sure that when you are training, if you're going to train in a gym, the best tool that you will have in the gym, the best bit of equipment that any gym will have, is a mirror. So please don't be afraid to use the mirrors. Look in the mirrors and look at your knees, and just make sure that your knees are trying to stay in line as much as possible with your ankles, rather than coming in or coming out. And you'll know that, Claudia, from your gym assessments, that we look at knees quite a lot, particularly leg presses. So yeah, knees are really important.
Make sure they get out and not in, and
Yeah. Make sure they stay nice
really
in line. Flashback.
Yeah. Cool. And what would you say? So, because some people, they really don't like the gym. They don't even want to think about going. What would you say is the best equipment for someone that says they want to do it at home on their own?
You don't have to join a gym. I've had clients before that have never joined a gym. If they don't like it, a lot of people hate it, and that's it can be quite an intimidating place. So the best thing that you've got is your body. Like, that's the best equipment. So learning how to move your body correctly is a great way of living, really. So learning how to do what we call your primal movement patterns. So when you're born, in your brain you have a certain amount of movements already in there that your body will learn, and that's a squat, lunge, a push, a pull, a bend, so a tip from the hips, and also gait, which is walking. So learning how to move the body correctly, really. So things like you can start to do, as I said, body weight squats, lunges. You can change up the variation of lunges as well. You can start doing lateral lunges, so to the side, curtsy lunges. You've got things like deadlifts. If you wanted to hold a light weight. I've got a client of mine that can't lift particularly heavy weight. She has a medical reason why she can't do that. So yesterday I went into Aldi up the road from me, and I bought a 4-kilo kettlebell for £5. It's nothing, and that, it will last forever. It's a big chunk of metal, but things like that would help if you wanted to. But just learning how to do the body. A simple exercise is just, if you sit on your sofa and try and stand up off the sofa without using your hands, that's a great exercise to do, especially if you're an older client, or of a particular age. I don't know, some mornings I feel that I need a hand, but learning how to stand up unaided is a great thing for life. So your body is the best thing. Learn how to move your body first before you start adding extra tools to it, really. So things like that. All right.
Cool. It's a good tip. And
okay.
Is one more question. Well, I guess it's kind of like two.
That's all right.
So now
You know me, I love a chat.
yeah, no, I'm really fascinated. I really literally could keep on going and going and going, but no, people want to go to bed. um, now everyone's really still motivated and like, yeah, it's only, it's only the first week of January and everyone's still keeping up the resolutions, but that will then probably start to crumble at one point, which is why you said that it's good to start with one thing at a time and not go too much because it's just
Yeah.
not realistic and you can't maintain it for a long time. So, and then one of the problems a lot of people struggle with is how to fit exercise into a busy schedule. So, especially the moms, they have maybe their normal 9 to 5 job, then they have to pick up the kids, and then they have to do this, and then this. And then, yeah, at the end, they're just tired. So, what would be the best way to fit in exercise? Is there a secret tip?
Oh, I wish there was. That'd be amazing. I wish there was. I'd make a lot of money from that if I knew that tip. But I think, to be honest with you, I think someone just has to be honest with themselves and see when they can do it. So for me, as I said earlier, I've got 2 boys, so I am a mum. That's my job, and I can't train in the evenings. I used to work in a gym, and gyms in the evenings are just mental, and it's not. That's not my thing. So I go in the mornings. I get there for 6 if I can. My husband, if he was in this room, would laugh because I never get there at 6. I always say I'm going to get there for 6, but I'm really bad at getting out of bed. But I try and get in the gym 6 quarter past ish normally, and then I'm normally out the door just after 7. So I'm back here by 20 past, and then I've got enough time to shower, get the kids changed, do the school run, do the preschool run, and that's my morning. So for me, it works better in the first thing in the morning. But I say this quite a lot. I'm kind of backtracking kind of what I talk about when I teach and stuff, but what we have to do is, because obviously we want to be healthy and increase our fitness, there's loads that you can do in your day-to-day life. It doesn't have to be in a gym. So things like just leaving the car at home, once or twice a week and walking, getting your steps in. If you wear a Fitbit or I haven't got mine on now. Sod law, I just took it off. But yeah, if you've got a Fitbit, I did have a Fitbit, but it broke, so I bought this other one now. It's not Fitbit. But if you wear that and you aim to get your 10,000 steps a day, that's really great, and it doesn't matter if you're doing that, walk around your living room whilst EastEnders is on. For me as well, I think nowadays, with the kids as well, we're trying to, I'm trying to include them as much as I can, because I think from my point of view, I'm a role model. So, my kids, I want them to be active because we're active. Both my husband and I are active. So, we've joined things like the National Trust and we go out for nice walk. Well, we've been to one place. We joined it like last week, but we're trying to go to somewhere every weekend, walking with them. My kids run around all the time anyway. But just look at what you can do. So if you're working in a building, try and go up the stairs. One of my friends, if she watches this, I think she was on earlier, Angela, I give her a name shout. She works up in London, and her thing is that, she's got to go up 2 floors. She'll get the stairs rather than get the lift. So, that's still active. It's still getting your heart rate up, but it's something that she can easily do in her day-to-day life. Another one is, I know it sounds really sort of probably a bit ridiculous, but if you go shopping, park further away from the car park. So that's what I do. I just try and park further away, unless if there's no mother and baby spaces, because otherwise I'm right by the door. But if I not, I park further away, walk it, because those extra 100 steps that it's got a cumulative effect. It will add on over the rest of the day. So look at what you can do. You don't have to join a gym. As I said, find a DVD if you want. Davina, or I don't know anyone else. I know Charlotte from Geordie Shore or something. I don't know. Get a DVD on and watch that, or go for a walk with the dog. What you want to do is, if you are going to do that, just make sure you feel that you've raised your heart rate and you're getting fit. As long as your heart rate comes up and your body feels like it's working. So as long as you do that, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. Is that okay?
Yeah, no, good answer. No, and probably in connection with that. So would it make, so for someone that says they're really busy and they only have 10 minutes in the morning, would it for them make sense to, I don't know, do 10 minutes every morning, every day of the week, or should they do like 2 or 3 times an hour a week? Is there a difference in that?
Oh, I see what I mean. Yeah. No, I mean, it doesn't really. The thing is, the body doesn't really know if you do it all in one go or not. It's a cumulative effect. So if they wanted to do it, whatever works best for their lifestyle. If they can only do 10 minutes a day, do 10 minutes a day. It's better than nothing. And if they find that, again, it's like we said earlier. If you're finding 2 to 3 hours quite hard a week, for me, I try and get to the gym 3 times a week. But the weekends that I do teach, and I can't because I've got to be on the train at like 7:30 in the morning. So that's fine. I just sort of make sure that I would obviously get my steps in those days. Do what you can control, and don't worry about anything else. You know, if you know that, you know, if you're, I think, as I sort of said earlier, when people give themselves too much to do, they set themselves up for failure. You know, it doesn't matter if you have a bad day. So, you know, like, I hate the kind of phrase cheat day, you know, when people have it, oh yeah, I'm on a cheat day. No, it's just, you're just being a bit more flexible, and then, you know, then you'll get back on the wagon. And sometimes, you know, I once had a client many years ago who came and saw me on the session. She was really upset. I went, "Why are you upset about?" She said, "I had a packet of Maltesers yesterday." And I was like, "What?" And she was like, I feel awful with myself. And I was like, "That's ridiculous. I don't mean that horrible. I completely understand where that came from, but it's happened. You're back on the wagon today. It's fine." And it's a packet of Maltesers. You know, it's not like you went to Costa and ate a whole chocolate fudge cake. You had a packet of Maltesers. It's fine. But as I said, just do things that you control. If you miss a workout, you've missed a workout. It's no biggie. You just crack on and get back onto it when you can. That's the best way I can do about it. That's why, like, holidays are always quite hard, and Christmas, because the whole country just takes, you know, time off over Christmas, and then you know, January's mental because everyone's like, oh, I've got to go back on it. But people, as you said, you know, gyms, if you joined a gym in January, gyms will make money off you because they do it by direct debit. And if you don't go more than 2-3 times a week, or twice a week, they used to be, I don't know if it's changed, they will make money from you. But the reason why they get you to sign up direct debit is because they know a lot of people will give up March time, and then you find a direct debit, so you've still got the rest of that year coming out of your account every month. So don't make money, you know, don't let them make money off you. Get to that gym. But if you only go once a week, it's better than nothing. So just do what you can do for your lifestyle. That's what I would say. I think I waffled a bit then. But
No, that's okay. No, it was really good. You answered the question.
In a long way. I should be a politician. I really go off and then come back again. I'm quite good at waffling.
Yeah. I went to, I can't even remember. Oh yeah, it was a public speaking course, and they said you only answer the question you want to answer. So, you know, even when someone asks a question, you decide what you want to answer.
Yeah,
so
when I was at school,
like,
I did.
Thank you for your question.
No,
I understand.
No.
So,
I used to be a time thing. I was taught that when I was at school. I did like public speaking in like year 10, 11. I did like public speaking for the school on a team, and it was a debate, and then they asked you a question, and if you didn't know the answer, I was told just to say, "That's a great question," just to buy yourself some time to like think. But yeah, so I just carried that on.
Say that. I mean, how much time do you get from saying that's a great question?
Yeah,
because then I'm still doing it.
Yeah, I just waffle, just go for it and just see what comes out normally.
Cool. And do you, well, maybe a tip, because some people, it's just, I guess the whole fitness thing is so diverse, really. There are people that love to go in the gym and look at themselves in the mirror, and that gives them complete satisfaction and happiness. And then there are the ones that want to do it in front of the TV when nobody can see them. And then there are the ones that live from the whole group atmosphere in a group class. Would you, or is there a tip that you could give for someone that's considering joining a group class to find out which is the one they could do or could try?
Well, most group classes would do, particularly if you do a private one, so as in like church hall or something like that, most of them will probably do a free session. So definitely take advantage of that, or ask for if you would be able to have a trial session. It all depend on you as a person, really. If you're quite introverted and quite shy, maybe something like, I don't know, I don't teach many classes anymore, like Zumba or something might not be right for you. But the best thing to do is just give it a go, because I said this to my mum the other week, because we talk about gyms and stuff, and my mum she's not a member of a gym, but she says, "Oh, I always find them quite an intimidating place." The thing about a gym, if I'm telling it truthfully, is that it is probably the most selfish place on the planet, because everybody in that gym doesn't care about everybody else. They're just there to do what they need to do and then go home. So when you have clients, and it's true, I think, I have, clients that are maybe a bit overweight, and they say, "Oh, I think people are looking at me." I guarantee they're not. They're just looking at themselves, trying to work out how they can improve themselves, and they'll go. And I think it's really important. I was in the gym this time last year. I was at my gym, and I just go to like a budget, £17 a month or something gym in Farnborough where I live. And there were these two girls in the changing room, and they were knocking a woman who was quite overweight. It was January, she was quite overweight, and they were taking the mick out of her, sort of saying, "I can't believe," like, it was quite horrible. And I turned around to her and said, "Actually, that woman should be applauded, because she's making a change, and that's a hard thing to admit and to make a change. And the thing is, it's people like that are holding them back. And I said, at the end of the day, she pays a membership just like the rest of us, so she's welcome here, and she should be. And that's the thing, and that's what I'm trying to do. Like, my children, if they ever took the mickey out of someone who was overweight, running or anything like that, they would know about it. They would be put in their bedroom, because that's not right. We think that we should, as I said earlier, as a society, we're overweight, we're unfit, we're unhealthy, and yeah, we can all judge each other, and we can well, that's their fault for doing this, like that. But actually, from my point of view, is doing what I do for a living, my job is to help them and support them and empower them. So the other day I was at the gym, there was a lady there who was with a trainer, new client, and she did really well. I saw her in the change room on the way out, and she tried really hard. And I just said to her on the way out, I said, as a client, you'll be an amazing client. And I said, oh, I'm a trainer, that's what I do. I said, you looked amazing, so well done. And she smiled, and I think, well, that literally took me 10 seconds to say, but probably made her feel good. So at the end of the day, if someone is changing, the best thing you can do as a friend, or as a colleague, if they say they're changing their diet, is support them. Don't be one of those people that go, oh, just have one. No, just say, look, yeah, that's cool. What can I do to help you? Just support them. That's what you can do. Don't judge, basically.
Cool. That was very good.
I was a bit political,
very
good then.
Summary to summarize it all up. No, because I have to admit, I find myself, because one of my boyfriends, I'm probably not allowed to say that, but it's on Facebook, so no one will know. One of his resolutions is to cut out sugar. And so I find myself going like, oh, come on, it's just one. It's just, So, yeah, it's really good to hear that again. And it's, I'm not being a very helpful girlfriend then.
I'm sure you are.
I think I have moments. Cool. So thank you very much. Where can people find out more about you and what you do and
cool.
Who you
are? I'm on Facebook. My website is not very good, so I'm trying to change that this year. That's my thing. But I'm on Facebook on shetrains.co.uk. If you type that in, you'll find my little thing there. I haven't been brilliant at doing that page, but that's my new thing, trying to update that regularly. I'm on Instagram as well under the same thing, shetrains.co.uk. And that's pretty much it. You can find me as Katie Gallagher. Obviously, you can find me through this group now. But if you have any questions or anything, let me know. If I can help, I will. That's what I can say.
Cool.
All right.
Cool. Thank you very much,
No
Katie.
worries.
It was very nice to talk to you. I hope I got all your questions answered. I don't think we got any questions. I'm just looking past the selfie light. I don't think there were any questions. If there are any afterwards, again, just either ask me and then I forward it on, or ask Katie directly. And I see you next week. And thank you very much, Katie.
No worries. Take care. See you later.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.